Hello everybody, I am Oscar and welcome to my review of Boyhood, which is directed and written by Richard Linklater, and it stars Ellar Coltrane, Patricia Arquette and Ethan Hawke. Now the plot of Boyhood is that we essentially follow this young lad Mason from the age of 7 all the way till the age of 19, I think it is. Now the interesting thing about this film is that this was a production of 12 years. This film was filmed over the span of 12 years from 2002 all the way until around about now. And that is the film. So you see everyone grow up. You not only Ellar Coltrane as Mason, but also Ethan Hawke, Patricia Arquette, and you just see the acting just develop through this. Now my expectations going into Boyhood were pretty high because what I found out is that Ellar Coltrane is like a year older than myself, so I was interested to see, the times would feel very interesting, even though he's American, myself British. I would think that I would connect a lot with this story and the just the way that this boy grew up. And I'm going to say, from the moment this film started, when I saw Ellar Coltrane watching Dragon Ball Z, I knew to myself, this is going to be a special film. And this really is a special film. Boyhood is an extraordinary film. Now one of the first positives I have to give this film is that the acting and the writing feel ever so natural. It doesn't even feel like a film most of the time. It feels just so real. And just like the dialogue between just everyone in this film, just literally everyone, like the dialogue that everyone has in this film. Patricia Arquette with Ethan Hawke, Ethan Hawke with Ellar Coltrane, Ellar Coltrane with Patricia Arquette. Everyone, I mean, bringing Ellar Coltrane with the actress who played his sister, feel so real and just so natural that you forget you're watching a film most of the times. And speaking of forgetting it's a film and getting lost in it, the pacing in this film is extraordinary. This film is nearly 3 hours long. It's 2 hours and 45 minutes. It went like that. It went like that. I was not bored. I didn't think to myself, is it going to end anytime soon? I checked the time to just think to myself, like, wait, how long have I been watching this? Because it just feels like I'm just going along with the motion. Even though the film goes through 12 years, it doesn't, you feel like you're just on the journey and you feel like you're just living through the Mason character. The dialogue was so good that there are moments in this film that you just kind of snicker at and just chuckle because you're like, those times, especially for me, because I mean, I was about the same, I'm about the same age as Ellar Coltrane, so, I mean, there were moments in this film where, I mean, he's going through a phase at a certain age, and I'm like, I was kind of going through that phase at that age. An example of how just amazing this dialogue is that there was just a conversation between Ethan Hawke and Ellar Coltrane of when Ethan Hawke goes, so do you think they'll ever make another Star Wars? To which Ellar Coltrane replies, I don't know, maybe. I mean, if they were to do a new one, they're going to have to, you know, do the time period where the games are. Because, I mean, there's nothing to go through. I mean, it's just amazing the fact that when filming that, they would not have known, like years later that, well, you know, hey, look, we've got a new Star Wars film, which is just, it's perfect. I mean, there's also dialogue in that scene as well, in the time here where Ellar Coltrane's talking about a girl that he thinks he likes, but he's not too sure, because he essentially goes, like, the three best films of the summer, Dark Knight, Tropic Thunder, Pineapple Express, she thinks they all suck. I remember when Dark Knight and Tropic Thunder came out, which really put me, I'm living through Mason at this point, and again, as I said, even though we both grew up in different countries and of course different, you know, families and everything like that, I completely related to the Mason character and I completely felt the things that he was feeling. And I mean, I think the best thing about this film is, like, you can be any age and you can be living through any of these characters. You can be living through the Ethan Hawke character, because you can be like, I know where he's coming from. You could be living through the Patricia Arquette character, because you might, oh, I know how she's feeling right now. Because all the characters feel so real, and you're just with them because of the amazing script and the amazing acting in this film. Another big positive is, I think, the way that they handled going through the times was perfect. It wasn't like a big text saying like, oh, we are now in 2005 or we are now in 2010 or anything like that. It was just, we flowed. You could tell when the times changed. For example, Ellar Coltrane aged. He had different hair. A great way of showing which year they were at that point is that they played music which was popular at that time. For example, in the more later years, they played the song Somebody That I Used to Know, which I'm like, okay, we must be like in the year 2012, 2013-ish. They played a Blinking Soldier Boy song, like, and I was like, okay, we must be like in the later 2000s era-ish. Which was, and it never shoved in your face, it felt very natural. That's just the way I can describe this film. The film was a natural experience. And that's another great thing about this. It wasn't overly dramatic. There were dramatic and scary moments, yes, but it was real. There was just some scenes where it was just the scene. It wasn't like a build up to like some like, oh my god, I can't believe this has happened. It was just, you know, happened. Were there big moments in the film? Yes, but there are just some big moments within growing up and just in life. And this film just captured all of like the moments perfectly and what that would feel like to be in the moment. I think the film really hit home, like had a big impact when it ended, and that just made me think, wow, now I am looking back at life, and it is a very magical and just wonderful experience just looking back at it like life, because during scenes in the film, you're looking at them and you're like, okay, nothing's really too special here, nothing's really extraordinary, it's, you know, things are happening. When it all passed, you look back and I was like, man, that was a pretty good moment, or man, that really sucked, that moment. And that's just like life. You live the moments. You don't see the moments in an extraordinary way. You see them as just average, whatever. Then you look back and then you think to yourself, man, that was just, that sucked. Or you look back and go, man, that was such a wonderful time. That was essentially Boyhood. Boyhood was just a whole experience of growing up. If I had to think of a negative of the film, I would say that I think that the character of Mason Jr. I wouldn't say, I connected to him, but I never really felt that he was a profound character. Maybe that was just what the character Mason was like. He was just kept himself to himself. I felt myself living through the eyes of Mason more than watching Mason, which, I mean, that was more of a personal experience to me, because I was more thinking to myself, my god, I was in Mason's shoes, rather than, my god, I am watching Mason do all these things. That being said, Ellar Coltrane did do a great performance in this film. You did see him, you know, progress. You did see him clearly get better as an actor, like mature acting-wise. So overall, I think Boyhood was a amazing film. I think it's extremely, extremely wonderful experience. More of an experience than a film, I would say. I think it captured each time period perfectly, because guess what? That was the time period that it filmed. I think the acting was amazing, particularly by Patricia Arquette, and I think Ethan Hawke did a marvellous job as well. I think Richard Linklater did maybe his best screenplay with this film. It was an extraordinary script. The dialogue was amazing. I think the way that this film was just made was fantastic. The pacing was extraordinary. I think maybe the big negative is the fact that I found myself living more through Mason rather than seeing a character. But yeah, I just think this actually captured a boy growing up in this time period perfectly, and I would definitely watch this film again. So guys, thank you for watching my review for Boyhood. What do you guys think of Boyhood? Comment below, let me know. Also, down below is links for Twitter and Facebook. And till next time guys, I shall see you later, and goodbye.